here we are, some of us. And let's explore the Dharma for the next 45 minutes. And when you're asking the question, please use the microphone. Miriam will pass it around, and please speak into it because it's for those that are streaming. Oh, there is streaming? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, morning and evenings are streamed each Sunday. And so people on streaming cannot hear your question unless you speak in the microphone. Okay. Robin.
I was thinking a lot about brain fog because the way you described it, or not brain fog, but meditation fog.
Meditation coma.
Coma, right.
Isn't that a great phrase?
Yes.
Llama Eric gave it to us during this recent retreat. I could relate.
Yeah. I always kind of described it as was always described to me as sort of just like not paying attention to your practice, but also not you kind of included like it being a very pleasant, like placid, but also mindless experiential thing. And so I was thinking about it, like how, so that doesn't necessarily mean, I guess my only question really is like, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're not garnering like some form of like pleasure or placidness from our practice, like during it. Or is it that if we're feeling rather placid, but also paying attention to all of the thoughts that kind of pop up and try to watch them, like, and let them dissipate, like, fish coming out of the water and going back in the deep or something. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wondering if, I guess, did I ask a question?
Not yet. But it looks like you're circling toward one. What if you boiled it right down to a sentence?
Well, I definitely feel I often feel like kind of a lot of brain fuzziness, which is also kind of called ASMR. Like my brain just feels really fuzzy and my body will often feel very fuzzy and my eyes will kind of go hazy in a way. But at the same juncture, I'm trying my best to keep watch on my thoughts.
Okay.
And also not like just sort of, because like coma for me can be like I'm like dreaming but awake and not really like.
Not even noticing.
Yeah.
And then a sound or something and you go, oh, where was I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
or, 20 minutes have gone by and I was lost in space or lost in the story.
Totally. So,
okay. But you're distinguishing between that and calling that more toward the coma.
Right.
And you're distinguishing it from what a more kind of what you describe as what is that fogginess?
Yeah. Like I'm not sure where that line is because I know that it's the middle ground between being able to be like hyper aware of
like two
thoughts.
tenths. Two tenths, you mean? Yeah.
2 tenths and also like following all the thoughts that are coming to you. Exactly. And like just, dozing on
zoning.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. You're seeing a lot already about your process. That's number one. We have to see, like, what am I doing when I sit down? Am I zoning? Am I watching thought? Oh, that one's really interesting. I'll follow that for a while. We usually don't say that. We're not that aware. That's interesting. I'll follow it for a while. We're just gone with it. Just, hooks us at the ring on the nose, with the donkey, and it's hooked and you're gone for a while with it. I think what Llama Eric was talking about, and Llama Michael's been talking about more, and Bill and I both, what's the purpose of meditating? I mean, why do it? And this is a really important thing to ask yourself over and over. The answer hopefully changes, as we stay creative and work with, why do I do this? Well, one of the things that can happen is we can do it in order to calm ourselves down and feel better. That's not bad. But it's not bad at all. It's quite a good thing. But the purpose of meditation in Buddhism is to understand the nature of the mind. That is not necessarily a calm, pleasant personal experience. At times it may be like, oh my God, They say, the metaphor is when we first sit down and first try to calm down, the thoughts can be like a massive waterfall. Just, oh my God, and including sensations, by the way. My knee, my back, my zing, my eyes, my this, my whatever. So it can just be like a cascade. And people can think, oh, I can't do this. This is just too hard. I can't do this. And this must be causing so many thoughts in my mind. But the reality is we've never really sat down and got quiet and looked at, this is what our mind's doing all day long. Got to do this, got to do that. 3 and 4 levels going. I call it, on the TV where that little bottom thing's going across the MSNBC, that's showing you like 20 stories, and then there's the big story going, and then they cut and do a commercial. I think that's my mind, that's what my mind is doing, like, oh, now for the commercial, oh, now, but the ticker tape's going, oh, I missed 5 of those, I can't read fast enough, but what was the main story? Oh, no, So, it's just seeing that's how it is, and also that's how it can be sometimes. Also seeing that at times it's not like that at all. It's more like what you describe. That metaphor is it gets a slower and slower current, become a very big, more placid river, and then flows into an ocean, endless ocean of peace, with thoughts occasionally making a wave on the surface. But the nature of the thoughts is water in that metaphor. The nature of the ocean is water. The thoughts have nowhere to go but back in the water. Even they crash on the shore, they're going to go back in the ocean, right? So that's what we're aiming towards, is understanding what is the capacity of my mind. What is awareness? How vast is it? What is clarity? What's it like when I have that in my mind? We can't intellectualize our way through these. I'm saying the question, but I can go, oh, the clarity, it has a quality of this and that and the other thing. No, it's to be an experience. That's why we sit in silence, to experience it. We could talk all day about it, but that's not going to be of great benefit. Although all the teachers make jokes like, you have to experience it. You're not going to get it with concept. And we have 35 books on it in the bookstore. And they laugh. They laugh because there's a huge contradiction in it. We are conceptual. We are verbal. And concepts and words are the finger pointing toward the moon, but they're not the moon. They're not the experience of a full moon, which might be today, or was it yesterday? I don't know. Anywhere, we're very close. What's that? Oh, yeah. So the experience of the full moon, if the sky is clear tomorrow, you see it come up at the horizon, and there's an experience. And right away we start stories. Wow, it's an autumn moon, so it's bigger. Wow, it's orange because of the pollution. Wow, it's this. Wow, it's that. And the conceptual trumps over the actual experience. We just can't hold the experience very long before that constant concept comes in. But as we keep working at it, the gaps between, no, it's more like the ability to abide in the experience without all the talk and concept expands to be the ocean. The wave comes, no problem. Don't even need to do anything about it. But it's not a sleepy, foggy thing. It's not floating on the ocean like this. It's like this, very relaxed. This Tricycle magazine that I brought, that I read some of the quotes out of, the thing I loved in it is it's got all these pictures of lions. And the article I read those quotes out of about how to, be with a thought, it's called Creating a Confident Mind, a mind that knows I can place my mind. It's not just a wild animal running around that occasionally I get a hold of. I can place it. But all the pictures were of these lions, and I just love it. I've been thinking more, I like the ocean metaphor, but I've been thinking more of lion metaphor, like a big lion. This one, you won't be able to see it much, but it's a lion with the wind blowing on him. And he's just proud, and he's very present. And he's just so confident in being a lion. So I want to start sitting like a big mother lion, confident, courageous, present, and you're watching the antelopes, but your belly's full. You don't need anything. They just go by. Confident, present, courageous. Does that give a sense of it? That's the way to meditate. For a week, we were out at SCOL, our rural land, with Llama Eric, Troublehorn, and watching him meditate. Some of you have seen him here when he interprets, probably. How many know who he is? I just want to see. Okay, about half, or a little more. Just watching Eric meditate is quite inspiring to me, because I've always kind of sat like, okay, here we go. And he doesn't sit that way. He is so present in body, yet not tense, no tension. And there's this great quote in Kagi meditation manuals: don't try to meditate. When I first saw that, I just cracked up. It was like, don't try to meditate. Well, what am I doing, And he explained it in a way I had not heard it before, which is don't fabricate in your mind something like a vision of meditation or a vision of meditator, or I know what meditation is, and then try to copy that. That is away from the present. Can you see how that would be away from the present? From just sit down, be. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not trying to do anything. Does that get anywhere with your questions, Robin? Yeah. Okay, good. And what you have to do is just continue working with exactly what you're looking at. Like, oh, there's this haziness. do I have that on the cushion and off? Then I don't want to be thinking that's my meditation. Keep being hazy, But I also don't want to get so stressed and tight like that I'm just, not relaxed in body and mind, not present, trying to do something else too much, trying to oppose that. Okay? Just keep working, no problem. Encourage yourself. Yeah, Linda.
So I was going to ask you something else, but I wanted to just follow up quickly because you said that when Llama Eric sits, he's very confident. And when you said that, I actually thought, when I think of confidence, I think of the ego,
Yes.
of being confident and feeling like, okay, I'm really confident. I know what's happening. And I am wary of that kind of confidence when I feel it coming across.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted you to, if you wouldn't mind addressing that, but I have another real question after that.
Well, that's pretty real, the question you're pointing at first, about confidence in what? So, bodhisattvas, they say, are very confident characters. Look at the Dalai Lama. Look at the Karmapa. Would you say these are not confident people? Lama Michael, Khenpo Lodro Donyo, Bokar Rinpoche, if any of you ever got to see him. Exceedingly confident, but confident in what? And you gave the hint. It's not in the I. The I. It's confidence in the Dharma. It's confidence in Buddha nature. It's confidence actually in not knowing. In not fostering that I that says, I know. That's pride. They're different. That's deluded pride. Anytime the I is leading, it's deluded pride. Why? Because the I is an illusion, a delusion. That I comes with personal territory, personal story, other, I and other, always is out to cause some trouble because there's an I and an other. One of the earliest things that stunned me here, all these stunning things are what got me to stay in Buddhism, was Lama Michael very early one time. I was so new and the things he said seemed so mysterious and helpful, but he said, what this is about is giving up all personal territory. And I thought, wait a minute, I just fought all my life to get some personal territory as a woman, right, in a very sexist society. I'm supposed to give that up? But that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about giving up that false ego I, the one that keeps us having difficulties. Does that answer that part? Okay. And now you have your real question.
So when you opened this evening before we all sat together in meditation, you said something about going to, I believe you said, our comfort zone, including where we worry, so that it may be comfortable to go to this place that it's sort of a common practice or habit that we have, that we go to the place of worry. And I just wanted to hear a little bit more about that, because I think I do that I don't like doing it. It doesn't feel comfortable when I'm doing it, and yet it happens. And so that constant sort of going back is a kind of a habit.
It is a habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't want to go there.
I think I was saying refuge. I'm trying to get at the word comfort zone. Where do we take refuge over and over in our mind? I've been working more consciously, mostly off the cushion, on joy. Now, that may sound like it's not headed towards your question, but it really is. On joy. because it's fun, and because my habits don't let me have very much of it. It's a habit. My friend was talking to me this week, and she said, God, this really great thing happened in our family. And she said, I must have let myself have about 10 seconds of enjoying it, and I was right on to the next worry. And she saw that. And I said, wow, I do that all the time, but I didn't see it, how fast my habit is. She said, I didn't even let myself have an hour of going, wow, that is so good. That is so wonderful that happened. It's just plain good. What a relief to everyone involved. Nope. Then the worry starts right in. What's the next thing going to happen? It's like we have a list over here waiting for us to worry about. And it is just habit. And no one else is going to get us out of that but ourselves. See it is the first thing. Then train against it. There's a million ways to let go of worry. Just a million of them. But seeing it is quite good. And then asking questions like, what's this made up of? Really, that's a good one to do on the cushion. What's this anxiety made up of? So I've done that quite a bit, and it's much better now. But the first thing I noticed, it's made up of some physical feelings. And generally for me, it starts right around in here, what's called butterflies in the stomach. And then it can really get going, And I can even feel it out to my hands. And so you want to do that. You want to just slow down and notice. Wow, there it is. Okay. And you just start seeing, you feel it shift. Everything's impermanent. It cannot not shift. It's the very nature. Why does it seem it doesn't shift? Because we grab and we entertain it. Just out of habit, pure habit. So someone asked Llama Michael one time, okay, so it's all habit. How do we change habits? And he said, well, it's like this. He cracked me up. He said, so far every morning you've gotten up and you've put your pants on with your right leg in first. Tomorrow, you're going to put your left leg in first, and you're going to keep putting your left leg in first until it's natural. And sometimes you'll forget, but just say, I intend to do this. It's just like that. It's just like that. So in our, boy, I'm on this word ignorance tonight. In our ignorance of how the mind works, we let it run around, the Buddha said, like a wild elephant, as though it's not our wild elephant, like, oh, my mind took me there, and oh, my mind took me there, and oh, my mind ran over 3 people today, and gee, not a thing I could do about that. It's our elephant. And he also said, there's nothing more dangerous than an untamed mind, comparing it to an untamed elephant that rampages. But there is nothing more tameable than the mind. We can tame it. We have to see the pattern and work with some kind of antidote. In Kagyu tradition, the biggest antidote is just look right at it. Stop, take some breaths, and look right at it. What's it made up of? Bunch of physical sensation, bunch of thoughts. My habit of anxiety is it piles on story about the future, But then this could happen and this could happen. when my son was little, we had this series of books, and the animals each like had just one characteristic that they carried. And there was Worried Walrus. And Worried Walrus was just anxiety on steroids. And in each story, some small thing would happen, and Worried Walrus would make a giant story. Those stories like, and then this will happen, and then that'll happen, and then this will happen, and then that'll happen, and then we'll all be killed. You know? And it's all bringing it back to, hey, all that happened is someone said something mean to each other. We can probably deal with that. But just habits. So it was quite sweet because it showed the habits very like personified. The angry this and the, I can't remember what, the angry anteater or something. Anyway. Is that kind of, get it? Yeah, thank you. Ryan.
Part of what I like about the Buddhist path is that for me, it asks us to look directly into our own experience and use that somewhat as a guide. Sometimes I can get a little bit stuck on or perseverate on trusting or having faith that the path actually leads where it says it's going. Like if somebody were to say, like, this is the path to Bodh Gaya, like just walk on that path and you'll get there.
Yeah.
You kind of have to trust that person that it's actually going to get you there.
Right.
Like it's not your experience yet that it does lead you there.
Yeah.
So like I've never met an enlightened being or Buddha or necessarily somebody who I could see from direct experience that, wow, this person has some realization in that form. So for me, it's like it's difficult to be pulled from my own direct experience into a place of, well, you just have to trust, you know, and going back and forth. Because as far as I can tell from personal experience, there are a lot of things about the path that like brings greater clarity, awareness, and insight. So I've experienced those things,
okay,
you know.
good.
So there's some certainty in that sense, but I have my moments, right, where I'm like, well, this is good, and it seems to tame my mind in some sense. But is it really going towards this more like ultimate goal, which I would like to go towards? You know, so I guess I just struggle with this idea of pure faith or trusting in something that I haven't personally experienced yet.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too. Well, the first thing that comes up in my mind about it is teachings I've had on doubt. I mean, because it's kind of like, you're not saying I doubt it, but it does have that flavor, like I wonder. And the classic teaching is there's three kinds of doubt. There's doubt that tends toward no suffering, doubt that tends toward continuing suffering, and doubt that just spins going nowhere, just over and over, same question. I'm not sure you're asking that, or experiencing that. But the doubt that tends towards end of suffering is the doubt that would say, okay, I have had some good experiences with this practice, so I'll keep doing it for that reason. That kind of gets rid of that doubt. The doubt that tends towards suffering is it's just constantly undermining your practice. I doubt it so much I don't get to the cushion. I doubt it so much I'm really, the kind of skepticism that just is cynically undermines everything. There's nothing that good in the world. There's nothing, so enough about that one. And then there's this one that just can spin and spin. And what they say about that one is just see it and leave it alone, because you can just perseverate. But that's one thing that comes to my mind. The other thing comes about faith and trust. And the Dalai Lama says don't believe anything. That's what the Buddha said too. Don't believe anything. That's a tie to that saying, if you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. It really means if you meet something where you think, I've got it now, it's like, let go of that and keep practicing. But the Dalai Lama talks about faith based on reason. And that reason is your experience. You reason it through. So far, so good. So I'll just keep practicing. And then you leave the future, the fruit. You leave it alone. You can't get it ahead of time. Just if a tree is growing, or a crop is growing. You can't get the fruit before the fruit's there. So even kind of thinking about, will this tree give me some pears, is not so important as fertilizing, pruning, watering, sheltering the tree, which is your practice. So it's kind of like the not so much focus on that question. Do you see what I mean? You can't know. For me, I have had the karma and the luck to be around teachers that showed me that their practice, I don't know how to describe this. Let me think for a minute. Through their practice, my experience of connecting with them was that they were humans, but through their practice of the 4 immeasurables or the 6 perfections, generosity, I could see the effect on them. Like Venerable Chitran, who I was at the Abbey with for 5 years, consistent compassion, consistent patience, consistent ethics, to a degree that I never imagined a person could live on the earth like that ethically. Never thought it could, never occurred to me. Why try, right? Or even the few times I've heard the Dalai Lama, I've been in a crowd of 7,000 to 10,000 hearing him, but something is going on there that's just plain different than the average bear that I meet. So that's good when that happens. But, you don't have to go to a monastery or live so close to them. You can read biographies of these folks that can inspire that. That's a really good thing to do. But you don't need that either. You just need the experience of your practice. And then forget the fruit. It'll come. Surprisingly sometimes. But we have to put in the effort. And I'm going to use this moment to say one of the pieces of effort that just pushed me forward so much was a retreat. And whatever you can do in your life to get yourself on a retreat once a year or once every other year will benefit you incredibly. It's just nothing like being with a group of people in silence with more solitude, where you get past that just calming the mind and you actually experience some clarity and the awareness opening more, and then your confidence grows. You can be more of a lion. Yeah. So whatever you can do, if you're working hard but you do have vacation, do some of the vacation with your family and some of the vacation in a retreat if you can in any way. It's just the thing that propelled me forward the most, and where I ended up feeling my mind changed enough that it's not just going to slip back into completely old patterns. Yeah, it slips back because, we're living in a very seductive, distracted world. Very noisy too. But it's just lovely to get out and do that. if you can. If you can't, it's okay. Be satisfied with getting some daily practice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Laura?
I've been thinking about Tanglin and my resistance to Tanglin, and also my attraction towards it, and wondering if we are actually bringing in the suffering of others, or if it's just where a part of us recognizes something in us that resonates with what they're going through. So we're really just pulling in what we're going through.
What if
our
it
own
was
suffering.
What if it was real and you could take someone's suffering? Really? What would that do for you at the practice? It's not the practice, but I'm just wondering if there's some fear there, or some I don't wanna, or
Yeah, definitely some I don't wanna. Yeah, having your entire family killed in war.
yeah.
Or,
Okay, good.
Part of me wants to. Oh, what a wonderful kind of bodhisattvic thing to do. But then the ego part says, no, that would be miserable and it would hurt even worse than this lifetime hurts.
Yeah. Well, first, I think it's great if we practice Tanglin and we see that fear. I think when people practice Tanglin and they just go, oh, breath in, breathing in the suffering, breath out, breathe out, peace, that we're floating on the surface. When you feel that fear, you're starting to dig into real compassion. Like, oh my goodness, would I really do this? No, I do not want to. And then you get to see the I, okay? Shows up big. No, my family shouldn't bear that. I don't want them to either, but, So backing up, the purpose of Tanglin is to increase the compassion in our minds. Actually, I want to rephrase that. It's to touch on the innate compassion in our minds and hearts. It's already there. It's to touch on it, to get in touch with it. And compassion is simply the deep wish for others to be free of suffering. That's all it is. Loving kindness is the wish for others to have happiness. This one is, I deeply wish you to be free of suffering. That's it sounds like, because it has the word wish, it can sound like, well, that's not much. But if we really get that, then our actions follow. Okay? So deeply caring, wishing toward others that they were not having that suffering. That's what Tanglin's about. So we sit there, and the other thing with Tanglin that Geshe Jangpa Tekchok, my teacher's teacher, who I had the opportunity to be with for a while, he made very clear that we probably start our Tanglin in the wrong spot. He said, first, start with you. Picture yourself. Okay? And you can do that in many ways. You can picture yourself now, like you are now, 71 years old, me headed towards death, quicker than I thought, or whatever, or suffering from arthritis, whatever it is. Just picture yourself and do it that way. Draw in that suffering of aging and give out beautiful, wonderful feeling of a supple body and mind, energy. Just do that. Then next step is work with someone you feel very close and loving toward. Then you work with strangers who you feel some connection to because they give us everything. Oh my God, all this stuff here. I don't know how to make any of this stuff. I don't know how to make one shred of any of this stuff I'm using. But it's just given all day long. So then you wish them free of suffering, and you can pick someone like your postal carrier, your person at the grocery store you see, or neighbor or something. And then you move towards difficult situations like wars and such. So it's a grow your capacity thing. If we jump right into, I'm going to take, the family in Aleppo who's been bombed and their kids have been killed, and I'm going to do it. It's just like, no way, So we always have to be aware of our capacity. We're not bodhisattvas yet. We have the capacity to be, but we have to grow that. Just like we grow the habit of putting the pants on differently, we grow this. And we be kind to ourselves while we do this. We're so pushy. I'm so aggressive with myself. And I like to see that and to stop doing it. Stop pushing myself, stop judging myself, be compassionate towards myself as I move along the path to waking up to my true nature. Be a good coach towards ourselves and courage. Give ourselves courage toward it. And be very, very kind. Very kind. Miriam.
I wanted to share that Llama Eric in the Chenrezig retreat suggested, apparently he's been told and suggested that if we are doing Tanglin and taking other people's suffering, and it's really too much, that we imagine a small butter lamp.
Yes.
And the suffering gets kind of burned up in the butter lamp. So it gets, the flame takes care of that. And eventually we might move on to actually taking it on without the butter lamp burning it up, but that may be a good way to start.
Thanks for reminding about that. I forgot that lovely image. You can picture that right at your heart, and it all comes in and it's just gone. Okay, I think we would have time for one more if somebody wants something, but otherwise we can dedicate. Okay. Thank you so much for your questions, your practice, being here together. And now we'll just, we dedicate, and in dedicating we give the merit away, we acknowledge it, but we spread it out so that we are generous with it. We created it, but it goes out and helps the world.
By
this virtue may I quickly realize Mahamudra and establish all beings without exception in this state. Thank you. We'll see you around this week or next Sunday.
Very fond of you.
That's so sweet. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for your practice.
I noticed something tonight in my practice that was different.